What's up guys, it's Retro Collector 101 back here with another banger, and in this video I'll be reviewing the Switch Lite with the Switch OLED. So why am I doing this video? Isn't there a clear winner? Well, you can say so when it comes to specs, but when you also counter in the price, I think that tells you a different story. So before we get started into this video, I will be just telling you the price. So this one goes for around $200 USD, and this one is $350 USD. So before this video starts, I just want to make a confession, and that's that I have not been posting lately for the past month, and I apologize for that. I have just been very busy, and I know you probably heard that in my previous videos. But truth is, I've just been so caught up with SAT prep, academics since I'm still in high school, and just a lot of different things. So time hasn't been on my side lately, but I plan to make this up to you by making this comparison video between these two handhelds. So without further ado, why don't we get straight into the video. So the first thing I'll be telling you guys is that I'm going to be going through a three-step criteria, something I usually do in a lot of my videos. So the first one will be their graphical capabilities, whether the OLED capabilities on the OLED Switch is worth it, and how the LCD capabilities on the Switch Lite compare against the Switch. The second one will be its differences, so what this one has that this one does not have, and what this one has that this one does not have. And actually, I gotta admit, surprising things came out of that tier. And then the last one will be which one you should buy and which one is worth its money. So without further ado, let's go through step one. So when it comes to the graphics, especially on the Switch Lite, I do have to admit that the LCD screen on the Switch Lite originally was pretty good, but once I got my hands on the beautiful Switch Lite's OLED screen, I just had to say that the OLED screen just made a night and day difference. The perfect blacks and those beautiful colors just made everything pop on the OLED screen, and it was also so much more vibrant and so much brighter as well, and was just something you did not get on the cheap LCD screen on the Switch Lite. So I honestly just have to say that the OLED screen was just hands down so much better, and anyone with any type of eyes can probably notice the difference. In fact, my grandma could probably tell the difference between the two screens straight off the bat. It was just that different. The other thing is that the Nintendo Switch Lite has this weird plastic covering, which I just do not like. It's so cheap, and I guess for the cost it does make sense, but when you look at the Nintendo Switch OLED, it just has this amazing glossy look to it, and it just makes it feel so much better, makes it feel like so much better quality, and it's just something you do not get on a handheld that's just $200, which is also kind of disappointing because the PlayStation Vita, which came out for around the same price as the Switch Lite like 10 years ago, was of so much better quality. So it's just a bit disappointing on that respect. So that's why I just have to say that the Switch OLED is the clear winner here. Next, why don't we go to step 2 in the criteria and compare its features. So the one thing that sets the Switch OLED apart from the Switch Lite is the fact that you can actually take these controllers out and play two-player modes. You can also connect it to your TV using a dock I have somewhere in my house. I probably lost it. Nope, I did not lose it. I actually still have it. It was just connected to my TV downstairs, and I totally forgot because I play the majority of my games upstairs. Not only can you connect this handheld to the TV, but you can also just play it handheld mode with your friend, or I'm a tabletop mode, and use this kickstand that comes out of the back. So I actually thought this new Switch was so much better than the old Switch that I just ditched my old one, sold it, and kept this one. So this stand is actually a very high quality. It's like metal, like I don't know what material it is specifically, but it is definitely of high quality. It also has a micro SD slot, something you do not have on the well, you do have it on the Switch Lite, but what you don't have on the Switch Lite is the base storage that you do have on this OLED Switch. So on this OLED Switch, you have a whopping 64 gigabytes of base storage, while on the Switch Lite, I think you have only like 8 gigabytes or 16 gigabytes, which is just nothing compared to the Nintendo Switch OLED. Now, one thing you do not have though, that is on the Switch OLED, that is on the Switch Lite, which is not on the Switch OLED, sorry about that, is that the Switch Lite is extremely light since it is made out of plastic, which means that you can practically bring it everywhere. I have to admit, I have had problems bringing this to my friend's house after a day of school because it was just so like heavy. It's just on the bigger side. I know that you can take out the controllers and put it in your backpack somehow, but just the fact is that this thing is so much smaller. Now, the other thing that I do have to admit is a lot better on the Switch OLED though, are the triggers. So I didn't really expect that, but if you listen to these triggers, you can tell that they are a bit more clicky, even these top triggers as well. But when you go to the Switch Lite, it's like mushy. It's not as responsive as the Switch OLED's triggers. So that's just one thing I noticed. The other thing is also these A and B XY buttons. Like it's membrane, like definitely. This one's so much more responsive. Like it's a night and day difference. And when you play games that really require you to be on the tip of your toes, the buttons really do make the difference because you really need good buttons to perform at the best of your capabilities in a lot of these games. Now, lastly is the volume. The volume on both of these systems do sound quite similar, but at the same time, this one can go a lot louder since the Switch Lite is a lot smaller. So this one does sound better in the long run, but also keep in mind how much cheaper this thing is. So I do think that the Switch OLED is better. So finally, after comparing all of these different things, let's just talk about the game library these two can play. Just kidding, these two can play the exact same games, so I don't even know why I just threw in that joke. But usually when I compare handhelds, they can play different games. But these two play the same game, so we don't need to worry about that. So lastly comes what you want, because this all depends on what you want when it comes to which Switch you want to buy. So if you want tip-top graphics and really can tell that difference between OLED and LCD, then I would suggest this. Also, if you just love Nintendo products, have been using them your whole life, and just love the Nintendo game library, and are somewhat of a competitive gamer who loves playing the Nintendo video games, then I do suggest the Switch OLED, because of its very clicky and responsive buttons, and because of its OLED perfect black display. If you are, though, a guy who just doesn't mind what their Switch does, then come on, this thing is pretty legendary considering its price. Even though the triggers aren't amazing, even though the A and B XY buttons aren't amazing, they do have some type of feel. Like, it can still play the same games as the Switch OLED. So that's why I still do suggest it. And lastly, if you really want to play your Switch with your friends, sadly, this just cannot do that. So that's why I would suggest the Switch OLED in that respect. So anyways, guys, that's pretty much it in this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.